Okay, so in the previous video we have created a model and we have added click events to our button. So if we click the button, our model appears, and we have also used custom events. So when the cancel button is clicked, the model is closed. And now in this video what we want to do is, if the submit button is clicked, we want to add a new board to our array. So let's see how we can do that. First let's go to our model. So it is in the model.view. Now in the model, when the submit button is clicked, we want to notify our parent component. So our parent component is the add board button, because in the add board button we are using the model. So model is our child component and add board button is our parent component. So to notify the add board button, we can again use the custom event. So let's go to our model component and let's see, go to our add board button, and we can listen for the click event. So this is our submit button or add button. So here we're going to use the click event again. So we're going to say add click, and we're going to run a function called submit. So copy this, Control C, and inside our methods we're going to have another method called submit. This submit method will just again emit another event. So we're going to say this.emit. So this.$emit, and we're going to emit the submit event. So submit. Like so. So now we can listen to this event in our parent component. So let's go to our parent, and here we can say add submit. And let's say we're going to call a function called handle submit. So copy this again, Control C, and create a new method with that name. So handle submit. For now let's just say console log hello. So console.log. Now let's open up our console. So inspect and click on the add board button and click on submit. It says hello. So now we also want to know what is the title of our board and what is the color we have chosen. So to do that we are going to use what is called two-way binding. So the two-way binding may sound a little complicated, but it's not. So let me just show you how it works. So again we're going to have a data property. So in the data we're going to have two properties again. So data have to return an object. So we're going to return an object. So the first one will be, let's say, input A. By default it will be an empty string. So the input A will be the value of this first input, and we're also going to have input B, which will contain the value of second input. So let's say input B. So input B. Now to use two-way binding, what we do is simply copy this property, and inside our input we can say v-model. So we can say v-model equals to, let's say, input A. Now if we were to just show our input A, so let's use expression and paste it here. So okay, so the benefit of using two-way binding is, okay, let me just refresh this and click on add board, and you will see if I type something here. So let's say, let's type anything what we want, and as you can see the value of input B becomes what we type in our input. And also if we had something in our input, so for example let's say hello, and if we refresh, so as you can see it says hello. So whatever we set our input to, the value of text field will be that, and whatever we type in the text field, the value of the input A will be that. So that is called two-way binding. So you can use two-way binding with any form element. So you can use input, you can use radio button, checkbox, select, whatever you want. So for now we just want to use the input. So let's also do that for the input B. So we're going to say in our input B the v-model will be, so v-model will be input B. So now we want to pass the value of input A and input B to our parent component, which is our add board. So how we can do that? When we emit an event, we can also pass some data. So in a second argument we can pass some data. So we're going to say input A equals to this.input A and input B equals to this.input B. So now in our add board button, in this handle click function, this will receive some data. So let's say data, receive that data, and let's console log that data. So let's say data, like so. So now refresh, click on add board, let's type something here. So actually let's delete that hello, we don't need it. So delete, and let's try to type something here. So let's say hey there, and let's choose a color. Let's try this color and click on submit. So as you can see we get a object that has the input A equals to hey there and input B equals to the color we chosen. So now we are getting the color that we have chosen through in our event. Now we want to add this to our boards array. So our boards array in our home page. So if I just go to the home page, so here is our home page and here is our boards array. So we want to add another object to our boards array with the title of the input A and color equals to the input B. But as you can see, our add board button is not directly in our home component, so we can't use event handling or even custom events here. So we have to use global events. So the global events mean we should be able to emit event from any component and listen to that event from any other component. So let's see how we can do that. So to do that, we use what is called event bus. So let's see how we can do that. So inside my source folder, I'm going to create a new folder called utils. Inside the utils folder, I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to name it eventbus.vue. So eventbus.vue. Actually eventbus.js, sorry, it will be a JS file, not a component. So inside that, first we are going to have to import Vue from Vue. So we are going to say import Vue from Vue. And now we have to create an event bus. So the way we create event bus is really simple. We just have to say const event bus equals to just new view. We don't have to pass any object here, any options here, and this will be a new event bus. Finally, we have to export the event bus so we can import it in our component. So we're going to say export default event bus like so. So now we are going to be able to import this event bus and use it. So let me copy the name here, Ctrl C, and let's go to our add board button here. So here first we are going to import the event bus. So let's import it here. Close the sidebar and let's say import, and we're going to import the event bus from, and it is in at source, at points to source, so @utils, and then we named it eventbus.js. so let me open up sidebar. So yeah, it is eventbus.js. Save it. Okay, it looks like we have spelled utils wrong, so let me rename this. So file rename, it should be utils like so. Save it. So now if we save it, the error is gone, and now we will be able to use this event bus. So inside the handle submit, instead of just saying console.log data, we want to emit an event. So if we were to emit the event in this component, we'd say this.emit, but now we want to emit global event. So we're going to say this. Instead of saying this.emit, we are going to say eventbus.emit. We want to emit an event called addBoard, and then we want to pass our data, that data that we received. Now we have to listen to this event in our home page. So let's go to our home.vue. But before that, we need to talk about lifecycle methods. So what is a lifecycle method? So a component has various lifecycle methods. So when a component is first created, it is a part of its lifecycle. When a component is updated, it is a part of its life. When a component is deleted, it is a part of its life. So I'm going to put the link to this page in the video description. You can check this. So here is the diagram of how lifecycle method works. So as you can see, as the new Vue object is instantiated, the before create method is executed, and then when the reactivity is started to edit, then the created event is added. Once the template section of the component is compiled, the before mount lifecycle method is called. After that, when the component is added to our DOM, the mounted event is called. After that, when any data changes before the page is updated, the before update is called. After the page is updated, the update method is called. Now when, for example, we go from home page to about page, the home component will be destroyed. So before that is happened, the before destroy will be called, and after the component is destroyed, the destroyed method will be called. So let's try to use them here. So to use them, you simply have to call the name of the event. So we can say before create. So before create, so here we're simply going to say console.log. So console.log home.view before create, and let's also call some other method. So now if I save this, Ctrl S, and go to our home page and click open up the console, as you can see it says home.view before created. So first the before created method was executed, then the home.view created, so created lifecycle method is executed, then we have the before mount, then we have the mounted. So if we had changed some data in our data property, the before update and updated would be executed. Now if you were to go to some other page, then the home page will not be in the view, so it will be destroyed. So if you go to facts page As you can see, it says before home.view before destroy and home.view destroyed. So the last two methods were executed. So these are basically lifecycle methods. You can use whatever one you want. So for now I just want to use the mounted event. So let me delete all of this. And in the home page, first we are going to import our event bus. Let's just go to our add board.view. So add board.view and copy this line of code. So Control C and again go to our home page and Control V. So now in the home page, in the mounted method or mounted lifecycle hood, I want to listen for the add board event. So we're going to say event bus. So event bus, and to listen to event we use the on. So we're going to say $on, and we're going to listen for the add board event. So that is because in our add board button, so let's go to our add board button, we have emitted an event called add board. So let me copy the name, Control C, and let's go back to our home page, and we want to listen for the add board event. So when the add board method is emitted, we want to call this function. So here we are going to have a callback function. So let's say function, and this function will receive some data that is emitted by the event. Here let's say let's just console log the data. So let me fix this, and here we're going to say console.log. So console.log data. So if we save it, let me refresh the page and click on add board. So let's type something here and choose a color and click on submit. As you can see, we get the values that we entered. So input A is hello and input B is the color we selected. So now we want to add them to our board. So we can do that simply by saying this.boards.push and data. And we don't want to just push the data, so we want to push an object. So inside that, here as you can see, this is how our board looks. So our board needs to have a title. So let's say title will be, so let's say title equals to data.input A. Input A is our title. So let's say input A. Then the color. So we're going to say color equals to data.inputB.color. Now if the user does not pass any color, or the user does not choose any color, we're going to say the default color should be black. So we're going to say #000 like so. Now our input now our boards also needs to have an items array. So by default the items array will be empty. So like so. So if we now save it and now type something here, let's say hello world, and let's choose a color and click on submit, nothing happens. That is because if we say this.boards, it will this will refer to this function. So we don't want a new context to be created. We want this to be referred to our view object, this object here. So instead of using regular function, we are going to use an arrow function. So we are going to make it an arrow function like so. So now let's try it one more time. Refresh, click on add board and choose a board title. So let's say test board, and let's choose a color and click on submit. Okay, we need to save our add board button. So let me just save that and again try it one more time. So let's say test board. So test board, let's choose a color again. So let's try this color and click on submit, and as you can see we have a new board added. So let's try to add another board. So let's say test board 2. Let's choose a color, let's choose this color and click on submit. As you can see, another board was added to our boards array. Okay, this should be enough for this tutorial, and in the next video we are going to make the add button functional. So when the add item button is clicked, we will have another model pop up, and when we submit that model, an item will be added to our board. So I will see you in the next video.